Welcome everyone to the IEEE webinar on IEEE DataPort. We are very pleased that you registered and are attending this webinar, which will help you learn how you can get the most out of your research data. Just a few logistics before we get started. To minimize audio disruptions during the webinar, webinar attendees will be muted. All webinar attendees will still be able to ask questions regarding IEEE DataPort. To submit a question, please use the chat panel on the right on the webinar screen and type in your questions. We will document all questions and will answer as many of them as we can after the webinar presentation is concluded. If we cannot get to all of the questions, we will provide all attendees with answers to the remaining questions. Finally, please note that the slide deck used for this webinar will be sent to all attendees after the presentation. Melissa Honda will be our primary presenter today. Melissa is a program director at IEEE who developed the initial IEEE DataPort requirements for the platform and led its implementation for IEEE. Melissa is responsible for the strategy and operations of IEEE DataPort and will provide valuable information on this platform in today's webinar. I am Sarah Jerome, and I am responsible for managing the communications for IEEE DataPort. I will be facilitating today's webinar and documenting questions that are submitted by attendees during this presentation. You'll also hear from Alex Outman during today's webinar, who is the IEEE DataPort platform architect and lead developer. Let's get started. Melissa?
Thanks, Sarah. Welcome to IEEE DataPort, everyone. Some of you may be new to IEEE DataPort and others may have experience with DataPort, but let me assure you that this webinar will help you better understand how each of you can benefit from utilizing IEEE DataPort. Are you looking to get broader exposure for your own research? Or maybe you're searching for data in your field of study? Perhaps you'd like to get more citations. Or you're looking to communicate with others who have already provided valuable data on IEEE DataPort. You may even wish to host a data competition. Whatever your data needs, IEEE DataPort will be able to help you. IEEE DataPort is IEEE's new data platform, which is already used by over 200,000 people around the globe and hosts over 1,000 datasets. The data platform can help you store datasets, even very large datasets, access datasets that others have uploaded, share datasets with others, and manage your research data. IEEE DataPort is designed to help all researchers, authors, engineers, data scientists, and anyone in the global technical community who has data needs. In today's webinar, we intend to provide you with information so you will be ready to utilize the platform. It is currently free to utilize, and we invite all of you to listen, learn, and then go to IEEE DataPort to leverage its benefits. We'll provide information on IEEE DataPort capabilities, focusing primarily on the benefits it can provide to you. We'll show you how easy it is to use IEEE DataPort and provide two demonstrations, one on how to search for a dataset, and two on how to upload a dataset. We'll share customer use cases and customer comments so you can see what users really like about the platform. And we'll touch on the data competition capability provided in IEEE DataPort. Of course, we also want to take your questions, and we'll leave time at the end to answer your questions. Please use the chat box to submit your questions at any time during the webinar. If you haven't used IEEE DataPort yet, the URL is easy to remember, IEEE-dataport.org. And best of all, it's currently free to use. Anyone can upload their datasets at no cost, and everyone can utilize the promotional code DataPort1 to get a free subscription, which enables you to access all of the dataset files. Remember, there are over 1,000 datasets you can access today. Many of you may be wondering, why did IEEE develop IEEE DataPort? Well, we all know that the research environment is changing and becoming more data-centric. IEEE heard from many researchers and engineers that they need tools to help manage data. In addition, researchers are concerned that the research funding requirements are changing and now many funding agencies require that research data be made broadly available. And I'm sure you're also very aware of the growing trend towards open data. You yourself are likely experiencing this rapidly changing landscape with regard to data-focused research and need new tools to manage your data. IEEE recognized all of these needs and responded by developing IEEE DataPort. We fully support open data. We help you meet funding agency requirements. We support research reproducibility. And you should know that IEEE DataPort is owned and managed by IEEE, an organization you can trust with your data. So let's get back to the fundamentals and look in more depth at what IEEE DataPort actually provides to researchers. IEEE DataPort is a globally accessible, web-based, easy-to-use data platform that utilizes the cloud for data storage. You can use the acronym SAM, S-S-A-M if you like. It stands for Store, Share, Access, and Manage Your Data. First, you can store your data sets on IEEE DataPort. Your data will be stored in the cloud and is always secure and accessible. You can store data sets up to 2 terabytes in size, so whether you have a very small data set or a very large data set, you can store your data securely. Second, you can share data through DataPort. If you load data sets to IEEE DataPort and agree to the standard terms and conditions, you are providing a Creative Commons license to the data so others can access it and utilize it. You will get global exposure for your research data, and your data set will be cited if anyone uses your data set. Third, and probably most important to IEEE DataPort users, is that you can access data sets uploaded by other researchers. Data sets are categorized and searchable, and you'll see more on that later when we give a demonstration on how to search for a data set. Finally, researchers can manage their data on IEEE DataPort. If your funding agency is requiring you to provide your data on an open access basis, IEEE DataPort can meet that need. You always have access to your data. It is assigned a Digital Object Identifier, a DOI, so it is always referenceable. The platform provides version control, and you can manage your data over time. So remember, SSAM, SAM, with 2 S's, when thinking about IEEE DataPort. We've heard from many people that they are looking for specific types of data. You may be a researcher or a data analyst interested in seeing data sets that others have developed. It can save you time, it can spur innovation, and there is also a communications channel within the platform so you can reach out to a data owner if you have a question or need clarification. We actually have done a large survey of IEEE DataPort users and have found that people are very interested in storing and managing their data so they can get more exposure and more citations. But most people come to IEEE DataPort to search for specific data sets and find data in their area of research that others have uploaded. And many researchers are thrilled to find data that is already available in their field of interest or field of study. When you or any other researcher finds a data set on IEEE DataPort, you can either download the data set or you can access the data directly in the cloud. There are secure methods to access the data set in the cloud, and that is particularly beneficial if you're working with a very large data set. It takes time to download very large data sets, so it's often preferable to access it in the cloud. So after the webinar, take some time to explore the IEEE DataPort site at IEEE-dataport.org. IEEE DataPort is used by all types of users. You're probably well aware that there's a whole new engineering discipline called data analytics, and universities now offer data science degrees. These experts are often looking for data sets to analyze. And individual researchers and authors, of course, are also utilizing IEEE DataPort. In fact, many of the data sets on IEEE DataPort have a related paper published either by IEEE or another publisher. In the IEEE Explore platform, there are already over 200 scholarly articles that have related IEEE DataPort datasets. This helps strengthen published articles, but please know you don't have to have a published paper to upload datasets to IEEE DataPort. Your data could be related to research you're just starting, or it could be data that you've collected over time and you plan to use in the future. Universities and research institutions are also very interested in IEEE DataPort, primarily so they can meet both funding agency requirements and open data requirements. Academic institutions in particular want to ensure their researchers are complying with requirements. Government agencies can also leverage IEEE DataPort to make the vast amounts of public data they have available to a global audience. Think about natural disaster data or census data. This type of data can be very useful to many researchers. Of course, IEEE Society members and technical community members are contributing to and utilizing IEEE DataPort. And one area that some people often forget about is industry. Think about the automobile industry and electric vehicles. Or think about the power and energy industry, where everyone is looking to identify the most efficient ways to produce and distribute power. There actually is a lot of power and energy data on IEEE DataPort already, and there is a growing number of artificial intelligence datasets on IEEE DataPort as well. Industry can definitely benefit from IEEE DataPort. Some examples of datasets that are already on IEEE DataPort include image processing data, communications data, artificial intelligence data like training datasets, geosensing data, weather data, financial data. There's datasets of all types, and you're invited to go to the platform to explore. So what sets IEEE DataPort apart from other data platforms? Well, first, IEEE DataPort supports open science and open data. It provides an option to upload a dataset as an open access dataset, and all open access datasets will be freely available to all IEEE DataPort users. The trend towards open data is real, and IEEE DataPort is ready to help meet the open data requirements. Next, IEEE DataPort can generate citations for dataset owners. Datasets, like papers, are citable. And IEEE DataPort itself assists users by generating citations for each dataset in multiple different formats. So it should be very easy for anyone to cite a dataset on IEEE DataPort. We've mentioned earlier the ability for IEEE DataPort to store very large datasets up to 2 terabytes, and this is something that really differentiates IEEE DataPort from other data platforms. DataPort will accept datasets up to 2 terabytes in size, and that's per dataset. Any individual user may upload multiple datasets, and each may be 2 terabytes in size. And it should also be noted that IEEE is committed to storing the datasets indefinitely. Datasets can be linked to IEEE Explore articles or articles published by others. And this is extremely important because having data along with the published paper certainly supports research reproducibility. Any additional support an author can provide, like data, to ensure his or her research is reproducible is very valuable to the research community. DataPort is also integrated with ORCID, and users can optionally have the IEEE DataPort dataset automatically added to their ORCID asset list. DataPort also supports and facilitates data competitions. This is also a unique feature of the platform, and I'll explain more about the data competition capability later in the webinar. An IEEE DataPort provides a digital object identifier, a DOI, automatically for each dataset and analysis that's uploaded. And this is very valuable to any researcher, as it will be a permanent reference for the dataset. And beyond what you see on the slide, it's important to note that IEEE DataPort is backed by IEEE, reputable and trusted institution. We are committed to storing data for users indefinitely. You can count on IEEE. Another very nice user-friendly feature is that users can send email to dataset owners to provide feedback, make inquiries, collaborate, and anyone can provide feedback on any dataset that resides on IEEE DataPort. So that's what sets IEEE DataPort apart from other data platforms. Let's move now to look at a couple of demonstrations. Everyone should know that IEEE DataPort is very easy to use. Let's watch a short demonstration by Alex Outman on how to search for datasets on IEEE DataPort.
IEEE DataPort is a data platform which is globally accessible and enables users to search for all types of datasets. I want to show you how easy it is to search for a dataset on IEEE DataPort. Begin by going to the IEEE DataPort homepage at IEEE-dataport.org. There are several easy options to perform a dataset search. The easiest and most popular method is to use the search bar at the top of the IEEE DataPort homepage. Click into the search bar and type the keywords for your search. In this case, I am entering the keyword distribution, which could relate to power and energy distribution or other research topics. For additional search options, click the Datasets link in the main menu and use the fields under Dataset Search. Here I am again searching for distribution. Please note that you may control the sort order, or you may refine your search by category, author, or title. Here I have refined by power and energy. Now I am sorting to see the most viewed power and energy datasets under the search term distribution. As you can see, there are many search options on the Dataset search page. You may search by author, title, abstract, category, tags, data format, or DOI. Here, I am entering an author and finding datasets provided by this specific author. As I return to the Dataset search page, I will enter a DOI or Digital Object Identifier to find a specific dataset I am looking for. Please also note you may refine your search to standard datasets or just open access datasets. If you don't know what search terms to use, please consider using the categories available on the Datasets page and the IEEE DataPort homepage. Here, as I scroll down, I am able to view the DataPort categories on the left-hand column, from artificial intelligence and astronomy down to security, sensors, and signal processing. I click on machine learning to see a list of relevant datasets. I can further refine and link to other dataset categories as I click on them on the right. Here I am viewing image processing datasets. Please explore and browse IEEE DataPort to discover relevant datasets today. Please also consider subscribing to IEEE DataPort for access to all of our datasets. Of course, open access datasets are available to all registered users. Go to IEEE-dataport.org to discover new datasets today.
Thanks, Alex. That was an excellent demonstration on how to search for a dataset. Let's now take a look at a demonstration by Alex on how to upload a dataset to IEEE DataPort. Keep in mind that there's a minimal set of inputs that needs to be provided in order to upload a dataset. You'll see clearly in the demonstration what is required. Let's take a look.
Welcome to DataPort. IEEE DataPort is a data platform which is globally accessible and enables users to store datasets, access datasets, and initiate and participate in data competitions. This brief instructional video will show you how easy it is to upload a dataset to IEEE DataPort. Begin by going to IEEE DataPort at IEEE-dataport.org. Log in to IEEE DataPort using your IEEE credentials by clicking the login link on the upper right-hand corner of the page and entering your IEEE username and password. Please note that you do not need to be an IEEE member to utilize IEEE DataPort, and you can get a free IEEE login at IEEE.org. To upload a dataset, begin by clicking Submit a Dataset. Next, select which type of dataset you would like to upload: a standard dataset, an open access dataset, or a competition. Here, I am selecting and preparing to upload a standard dataset. Begin by entering your metadata, abstract, and instructions for using your dataset. Metadata is entered in one tab, abstract in another tab, instructions in a third, and finally your dataset files in the fourth. Required fields are clearly marked with a red asterisk. All users are encouraged to upload an image on the Abstract tab. Please also include documentation for working with your dataset. As you prepare your dataset files for upload, consider using the zip or gzip format if you have many files or need to preserve your directory structure. Next, click on Upload Your Dataset Files. Here, I am uploading two files called mockdata1 and mockdata2. You can upload one large file up to 2 terabytes or multiple files, and the format of the files can be different. I am not uploading scripts in this instructional video, but that is an option for all users. When you are finished loading your files, agree to the terms of use and click the Submit button. You can then see your dataset entry and files, which will appear on the right-hand side of the page. You will also see the Digital Object Identifier, or DOI, assigned to your dataset. Congratulations! You have now completed the process of uploading a dataset to IEEE DataPort. Thank you for your interest in IEEE DataPort, and thank you for taking the time to view this short instructional video. Please go to IEEE-Dataport to upload your dataset today.
Great. Thanks, Alex, for another great demonstration. For everyone who's watching, you should know that searching for datasets and uploading datasets are definitely the primary uses of IEEE DataPort. But I also want to make everyone aware that the platform provides the opportunity for anyone to initiate and manage a data competition. Data competitions and data challenges are growing in popularity and can be used to bring attention to your area of research, or could be used by faculty to challenge their students. There are currently 18 data competitions on IEEE DataPort, and the image shown here is related to an active data competition by the IEEE Geosciences and Remote Sensing Society. Data competitions are set up with a specific time frame. For example, you can request that all submittals are made by a specific date. Like you could say, I'm setting up a competition and all submittals must be made by March 31st, 2020. You simply upload a dataset to be analyzed. You establish the invited group of participants, which can either be a specific group defined by the initiator, or it can be open to anyone who finds the data competition on IEEE DataPort. You enter instructions on what you would like the participants to do with the data, or what results you're looking for from the data analysis. And participants are able to upload their analysis results directly to the competition, where the administrator of the data competition can then evaluate all responses and determine the best submittal. I'm not going to share a demonstration today of the data competitions, but I invite you to go to IEEE DataPort to explore the current competitions, and if you're interested in initiating a competition, there's more information on the platform. The best way to understand the benefits of IEEE DataPort is to hear what actual IEEE DataPort users are telling us. First, let's look at Rabindra Lamsal, who uploaded a dataset entitled Twitter Sentiment Analysis Data, which is related to his research on classifying crisis-related tweets into categories to assess community needs, loss of life, and damage. This dataset has over 3,600 views already, and this user said he finds IEEE DataPort beneficial for 3 primary reasons. First, the 2 terabyte storage capacity is impressive. Second, the dataset users can directly get connected with the data owner and make specific inquiries. And lastly, dataset owners get a digital object identifier and people can easily cite the original material. And Anna Cosmina Popescu from the University of Politehnica in Bucharest used IEEE DataPort because it was easy to use, cost-effective, and it offered the opportunity to expose her research to a very large global audience. Her data is related to her research on RGBD images of 16 different human activities. Red, green, blue images with depth are provided for 50 subjects in her dataset, and this scientific dataset already has over 1,460 views. Dr. Matam Manjunath provided a dataset that relates to his research on detecting abnormal or corrupt data associated with photovoltaic systems. He develops programming to perform the detection of abnormal data in PV systems and is a primary contributor to a research project sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy. Dr. Manjunath's research data is part of a growing list of data in IEEE DataPort related to power and energy. And in a written statement, Dr. Manjunath noted that he received direct feedback from some IEEE DataPort users, which was beneficial to him, and he also got significant exposure to his dataset from a global audience. If you have valuable research to share like these distinguished researchers, please utilize IEEE DataPort and start getting more exposure for your research today. And if you're interested in datasets such as those contributed by these researchers, go to IEEE DataPort and see all of the datasets it has to offer. I want to thank you very much for participating in today's webinar. Our goal was to ensure you have enough information to get started with IEEE DataPort, and I hope we have accomplished that goal. You can learn more about IEEE DataPort by going to the site itself, exploring, and reading the frequently asked questions. The best way is just to start to use the platform. Search for data. Try uploading a dataset. Just get started. We also invite you to sign up for the IEEE DataPort updates so you are made aware regularly of new datasets added to the platform. And if you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to sign up today. You can utilize the coupon code DataPort1 to get a free subscription. And please upload your dataset. Share your data and get more exposure. Standard datasets can always be uploaded at no cost, and if you would like to upload a dataset as open access, use coupon code OpenAccess1 to upload an open access dataset for free. And finally, if you think you or your organization would be interested in hosting a data competition, please go to the competition module on the IEEE DataPort site. So thank you again, and let's now get to some of your questions that were submitted during the presentation.
Melissa, we have some questions that were submitted by a few users during the presentation. One of the users asked, if I upload an open access dataset today with the free coupon code you mentioned, will I have to pay anything for the open access datasets in the future?
That's a good question. And the answer is no, you will not have to pay anything for your open access dataset. Any open access dataset that is uploaded for free using the currently available coupon code OpenAccess1 will always be free, and you will never have any charges associated with that dataset on IEEE DataPort.
Another user asked, can someone uploading a dataset see how many people are viewing their dataset?
Another good question. And the answer to that is yes. We recently have implemented an update to IEEE DataPort that enables the number of views for each dataset to be displayed on every dataset page. So if you go to any dataset on IEEE DataPort and you look at the metadata box at the top of the page, there will be an item there that indicates the number of views that the dataset page has received. So you can track, how many people are looking at your dataset over time.
Do we need an IEEE DataPort account to access datasets?
Okay, that's something that we frequently get asked, and the answer is yes. You will need an IEEE account in order to utilize IEEE DataPort. Now, IEEE accounts are available at no cost. You just go to IEEE.org and you'll be able to get a free IEEE account. You do not have to be an IEEE member, but you will need the account in order to log into IEEE DataPort.
I think we have time for a couple more questions. Will these promo codes be available indefinitely?
Yes, I mentioned two promotional codes during the webinar. One is for a free subscription, and that is DataPort 1, and the other is for a free open access upload, and that's Open Access 1. And these promotional codes have been in place for quite some time, but I do not expect them to be in place indefinitely. At some time in the future, the promotional codes will either be modified and the amount of discount that's provided will be reduced. At some point in time, there will be some charges associated with subscription, and there will be some charges associated with an open access dataset upload.
Can my entire university utilize IEEE DataPort?
Oh, I'm glad somebody asked that. We get this question frequently as well. So universities and institutions of any kind might be interested in ensuring that all of their members are able to access data on IEEE DataPort or are able to upload any type of data set to DataPort. And any institution can get an institutional subscription and can also get a package of open access uploads. I think the reason why the academic institutions are interested in this is so that they can meet the open data requirements and or the funding requirements that they must meet. So this enables all of the researchers in that academic community to be able to meet the guidelines and to be able to see all the data sets on DataPort and also to upload any type of data set at no cost. Anything else? Okay, thank you all very much for your attention. Appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of this webinar, and we look forward to your use of IEEE DataPort. Thank you.